Hey guys, I am back. Paulie here. I know it's been a while since I made a video. So I think since the last one, most of the team went their separate ways. But I am still here. I should clarify that. I still plan on making videos, and today I want to talk about the YCS that is coming up tomorrow. We are one day away now from YCS Atlanta. This is a big event. Atlanta is usually, in terms of participation, the third or fourth largest event of the year, I'm pretty sure. I know a lot of people who are going to this one, and yeah, it's going to be exciting, especially because it is a brand new format, essentially. We had some regionals last week to kick off the format, but largely this is going to define the meta, and a lot of people are waiting to see what happens this weekend to really see where the format goes from there. So just to talk a little bit about the format, I just want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on it, decks, possible contenders for this weekend, and what I think will win the event. So I, as I've said before, I'm a big fan of Dueling Book, and I have been testing a lot of different decks on there and seeing what other people are playing and what's kind of popular in the field on there. And so I played around with Trickstar, Invoked, Metal Foe, Dinosaur, Magician, and I think a couple others too, all kinds of stuff. And so I'm just gonna go a little bit through all the different decks we have in the format, because we have so many kind of options to choose from right now. It's funny, some friends of mine, we were joking around. Someone asked the other day, what deck? So what deck do I play now? Someone's gonna let me know what deck I play, and everyone was like, whatever you want. Because that was kind of the format right now. You play whatever you want. There's so many choices to pick from. But so let's start with let's start with Spiral, the deck that was the deck of the format 2 weeks ago, and now has largely dropped off. So there are a good number of people still playing Spiral. I have faced it multiple times on DB. I have lost to it several times. It is still capable of making a very strong board turn one, even without resolving Master Plan. If you, some people are playing it without terraforming so that they can always try to resolve Master Plan. Some people are playing a more Master Plan oriented build. Others are playing builds with terraformings in them for consistency, and then when they resolve their Helix, just going for quick fix or just straight to Sleeper. And a lot of times, if you can end on Double Wire and Sleeper, or like Rescue and Grave, that's generally a disruption if you're playing against a Pendulum deck, because you can pop a spell or trap on their turn. You can usually end on 2 to 3 disruptions. Sometimes I've seen even 4 Spirals, current format, without resolving Master Plan. So Spirals can still combo. They are still deck. They are, I'm not sure, I'm very interested to see whether any top Atlanta, or whether any top going forward, whether it's really becomes a rogue deck or a tier 2 deck. It'll be interesting to see. But Spiral is a deck. So that was, the big deck before. The other big deck was Magician. We had that kind of 3-day period, literally 3-day period, where Electrum was finally legal, and Magicians were, I think pretty much everyone knew Magicians were going to be the best deck. I was skeptical at first, but after a lot of testing, I came to agree with the consensus that prior to the ban list, Magicians were going to be the strongest deck, followed by Spiral, going into Atlanta if we had not had a ban list. So now we had one. It's interesting. It was interesting. Right after the list hit, there was a lot of division amongst people who thought Magician was essentially dead, and those who thought it would still be a really strong deck. I'll get to what I think, how good I actually think Magicians are going forward in a minute. But what other decks do we have? We have Dinosaur. I think Dinosaurs, I really enjoy Dinosaur personally. That's probably the deck I had the most fun with playing with this week. Dinosaur can still end on a board of, well, they didn't get hit at all, obviously. They can end on some pretty strong boards. Mrs. Radiant, Ultimate Conductor, Tyranno, Lagia, so a lot of times like Conductor, Lagia, Missus. A lot of times Dino players, I personally like to go into the Trish followed by Enter Blafner or Cling of Calamities combo. You take 1 to 2 cards out of their hand, either take 2 cards out or end on Calamities, usually end on a Lagia next to that. With a Mrs. Rating, it's pretty strong. Dinos can make some crazy boards. Burning Abyss, the deck that floats like crazy and never dies. The monsters float and the deck floats. The deck never dies. The monsters never die and the deck never dies. Unless you can like Ignis through the Beatrice or something. But Burning Abyss are still another deck I'm seeing a lot of on DB. I've seen some of it in person. I've lost to it. It's still a really strong deck. I don't enjoy playing against it. I don't like playing against that deck at all. It's annoying. But I think Burning Mist is still definitely a solid choice. ABC, I guess when Destrudo came out, we weren't really paying attention because we had Spiral. But I've at least noticed that ABC pretty much always makes Buster turn 1 now. They have so many ways to get to it because of, as more and more links have come out, even more so perhaps than Destrudo, just the fact that, like, ABC's utilize links so well to get to, like, you do their combo and get to the Buster, sometimes even 2 Busters. So ABC, I think, is a really strong deck. They've definitely improved over time with links. Interestingly enough, they're an older deck, but I think they've benefited a lot from more recent releases. Especially in the new set, they just got that generic Link 1 monster that you can use any monster to make, but you have to do it in main phase 2. Sometimes that can allow ABC to combo up where they otherwise couldn't. I forget the name of it. It's the 2 little anime characters dancing. That card. So that's ABC. That's another strong choice. And then we have what I like to call the GOAT decks, or the control decks. You have Trickstar, Invoked, decks that kind of can play like the 1-card engine type thing and just play a lot of generic, solid disruption cards like hand traps, quick play spells, and traps. You know, Solemns, Cosmic Cyclones, Scapegoats, hand traps. My deck skeleton for Trickstars and Invoked was pretty much the same thing, but with Trickstars for the other half of the deck in one, and Invoked in the other. I'm not a fan of, like, Draco Invoked. I think Invoked's best pure with hand traps. I think those decks are also very strong, very popular right now. I'm seeing a lot of Invoked in the format. Last week I was seeing a lot of Trickstar. This week I'm seeing a lot more Draco, which is the other deck that definitely should be talked about, which is seeing a huge resurgence this week. I think last week, several, from what I saw, I think Draco performed very well at various regionals around the country, and this week I'm seeing a lot of people, especially like on Dueling Book and some friends of mine even in person, definitely going back to that deck. I think going into Atlanta, Draco might be the 2nd or 3rd most popular deck. You know, Draco, all you have to do is main, Pendulums are very popular right now, so a lot of players are maining Anti-Spell Fragrance, but even without that, you have a lot of great floodgates in that deck. Skill Drain, the Monarchs Erupt, and Masterpiece. Masterpiece is a great card. Always has been. So, Dracos are definitely a strong, another strong contender. And finally, Pendulums. There are a lot of different types of Pendulum decks that can be played right now. You have Zephyra. I've seen some heavy Zephyra builds that play the Yangzing counter trap, the Zephyr counter trap, and play a build they try to end on those. Each of those can negate the activation of any one of the opponent's cards and destroy it. They end on 2 like solid counter trap disruptions, plus like I've seen they can make Vortex, Odd-Eyes Vortex Dragon. Pretty much all the Pendulum decks right now are playing that because, you know, some of the best combos in Pendulums right now are Electrum loops. Electrum searches Astrograph or adds Astrograph, and you just Astrograph Electrum loop, which ideally ends with you overlay your Astrographs for Odd-Eyes Absolute Dragon and link into Odd-Eyes Vortex Dragon, which is a great card. I was actually playing Metal Foes a lot last week. I thought that was a really cool deck, really high ceiling. You could end on Odd-Eyes Vortex Dragon, Tornado Dragon, or any rank 4. And Metal Foes are the only Pendulum deck that can actually fuse with Electrum, because it is technically a Metal Foes monster. So there's a lot of cool combos you can do in that deck. A lot of cool stuff you can do with fusing with Electrum, and a lot of cool stuff you can do with Electrum in that deck, and the interactions between the Metal Foes scales and the everything. It's pretty cool. I had a lot of fun with that deck too. I'd recommend that if people want to try out like a cool Pendulum deck that Metal Foes you haven't picked up in a while. You still have them in the box from last year. I did. Try them out. They're pretty cool. Maybe not quite as consistent as Magician, but they're pretty cool. And then lastly, the deck that I believe is currently the best deck of the format. Like I said, I tested at least half a dozen decks this week, fairly extensively. There are another probably half dozen decks like that I just went through. I have not played all of those, like Draco, Burning Mist. I haven't tried those yet, but I tried a good number of decks out this week, and ultimately the deck I found did the best, won the most matches, overall seemed to have the highest ceiling, is Magicians. I think Magicians came off the ban list very well, or made it through the ban list very well. Even though they lost Iris and Joker, it sucks that you can't search Stargraph and Timegraph basically for free anymore. The deck is still extremely strong. It's crazy to think how before you could just search those things for free on top of everything else. It almost makes you say like, wow, how is that ever possible? That's broken. And it was for that 1 week where if we had full power Electrum Magicians, that would have been a crazy period. But we don't have Iris anymore. We can't do that. Can't search those for free anymore. But even so, the deck is still extremely strong. Depending on what build you're playing, I play a more slower build currently, where I still play Duelist Alliances, a copy of Pendulum Call, and some Time Graphs. Oftentimes I'll, I do play also the Mythical Beast engine. That's another very popular engine right now. Some very popular cards. A lot of players are playing those. Pretty much all Pendulum decks seem to be splashing the Mythical Beast. Pick them up now. I'd recommend to any Pendulum players, because Cerberuses are currently going for around like $18 last I checked. They're going up. So, but yeah, I'm playing the Mythical Beast engine. The Supreme King engine, another great engine that a lot of Pendulum players are playing. But I'm playing Pendulum Call, and I find a lot of games I'll actually search into that. Unbricks Your Hand, and Time Graph. I really still like Time Graph. But that said, a lot of Pendulum players, Magician players, and what is a really big thing right now going into this weekend is the Electrum Turbo build. I'm hearing some people refer to it as quote unquote the just extremely combo heavy version of Pendulums. You essentially run your Magician engine, the Mythical Beast engine, the Supreme King engine, and the Chronograph engine, and the Curtain Raisers, which special summon themselves for free if you control no monsters. Chronograph summons Time Gazer from deck. The Mythical Beast summon Cerberus. All these different ways to summon a Pendulum monster to your field without using your Pendulum summon. The goal of which is to summon Electrumite prior to Pendulum summoning. That's the goal in any Pendulum deck right now. But summon Electrumite, then Pendulum summon. But this one version of the deck that is really picking up steam right now is basically you just play all of them as many ways as possible to special summon, make as many Electrumite as possible. Sometimes it's even possible with that build to make one. If it gets striked or ogred, you can still make another Electrum prior to your Pendulum summon in some cases. And so that deck, Rescue Hamster is another card that's being played in that. So that deck, Electrum Turbo or whatever it would be called, is I think a very I think it's a really crazy deck. I've faced a couple this morning on Dueling Book. That deck's really been picking up popularity the last couple days, and I think it won in ARG States somewhere in the at this past weekend's ARG States locations. It won one, and I wish I could shout out the guys. I watched his deck profile. I don't remember his name. I wish I could shout him out. But yeah, that deck, I think some form of Pendulums will win Atlanta, in my opinion. I think, but at the same time, I think the format's still open enough that anything could happen, and like any of those other decks could slide in there and win the event. I think there will be a lot of Draco, so Dracos could win. But yeah, I really think Pendulum's going to be the strong deck going into this weekend. Yeah, but you never know. We might see Burning Abyss. I don't think they'd win the event. Hope not. That would be a lot of Burning Abyss at regionals next weekend to have to deal with if they win the event. But yeah, Draco, Burning Abyss, Trickstar. I think there'll be a lot of Trickstar players there. Invoked. Yeah, all those other decks that we talked about. So yeah, the event's tomorrow. So this is interesting. Gonna be pretty crazy. I think last year Atlanta had about 1,400 players, or that might have been the prior year. I'm not sure exactly. I know by numbers, like I said, I think Atlanta is usually the third biggest event of the year, behind the NAWCQ and usually the YCS held in California. But yeah, so that's it. I want you guys. I'm very curious, what the community thinks. Leave a comment below saying what you think will win the event. What deck you think will win. And yeah, and I hope to be coming at you guys with more videos soon, more videos more frequently. It's been a while. I want to start uploading more, get some good stuff on the channel. We already have some good stuff. I know Kyle's got some cool Dragon Ball content up there recently. I learned that game recently. The game design on that game is insane. I think it's really well designed. The the game design is very consistent. Doesn't have like wild like bricky hands or like OTK hands like Yu-Gi-Oh. At least from what I saw. So I think that's a really good game. You guys should check it out. Just randomly, I've been saying that to people randomly, like at locals. Like, you know, I learned DBZ the other day. You should try it out. Or not DBZ, DB Super, right? All right. Anyway, I might start doing some like videos where I like, not live stream, but like upload matches, like playing on Dueling Book to the channel. Might be cool. It'd be cool to give some commentary while I'm playing, or something like that. I've been playing all kinds of decks, so hopefully I'll be, whatever it is, get some good content up here. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoys if you're watching the stream this weekend. If not, hope everyone has a good weekend. And yeah, see everyone soon.